Like, we're not living in, 1980. Everything evolves, everything changes. Like, obviously, if you look at what he's doing in sports nowadays compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago, of course, it's all greater and like, mind-boggling. So I feel like sometimes people forget that and they want to keep wrestling more simple. But I'm like, no, things change and things adapt. So, and I feel like that's what set me apart, is because I walk out and I set myself apart for how I look. But then I'm doing stuff that nobody else usually my size or structure does too. You're like, oh, holy crap. Oh, wait a minute.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Username Taken. Oh my goodness, so glad you're here. First of all, we got to get through the housekeeping rules. First time in the building, we're so glad you made it. Just make sure that you watch the video to the end because we got some amazing stuff coming your way. Second time in, you got to subscribe. A little bit of a like, a little bit of subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Show a little love to the Username Taken family. And then if this is your third time in the building, you got to make sure you share this video with somebody who's like it. I know that for sure you're gonna have somebody that enjoy our guest today, because without further ado, let me introduce to you my friend who is in the building. This young man has been all around the world doing what some people would call wrestling, but I myself see as one of the most articulated versions of choreographed chaos and combat. It's really just a spectacle, and the man that is in the building with me today has been a part of so many promotions, so many eras of this sport. The man I'm speaking on today is Mr. Brian Cage in the building. Big baller, man.
Who better?
Kind of looking like Wolverine today, I'm not gonna lie.
It's funny, I used to try to look like Wolverine. Actually, I didn't bring in my weight belt, which has a custom-made Wolverine.
Really?
Which is my licensed trademark, which we did talk about on Logan's show. But
oh yeah, easy segue.
But I don't want to say stop trying to look like Wolverine, but I wasn't intentionally trying to. But then I grew out the beard and the hair, and was like, oh man, you look even more like Wolverine. I go, well, that's funny because I'm not trying to be Wolverine anymore, but I'll take it because he's my favorite character. So
yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. Like, he's like you think about X-Men, you got Cyclops, you got Wolverine. Like, if you're not a hardcore fan, right, you always have like those couple people.
If you don't like
that cover.
If you don't like comic books, Hulk, Spider-Man, freaking Wolverine's up there with all the other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Household name. He made it. So
somebody even asked me the other day on Twitter. They're like, or X, I still call it Twitter, but they're like, oh, who's your favorite superhero? And I go, pretty sure you could probably guess it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You could probably figure it out.
Would you implant some like
adamantium,
anything into your body to become like next level?
That would be pretty amazing. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
You're down for the cyborg life, or like
right? Yeah, right. Or I always joke about the one-shot cycle, which is basically Captain America's superpower. I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that. I'll take the super soldier serum all day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When you see him come out that chamber and like the recreations of them, that movie version, it's like, whoa. Man, that's a glow up. That'd be like me turning into you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. The Captain America juice.
Well, let's take it back real quick. On the Username Taken stage, we often talk about people's journeys, right? How you took your username. We'll talk about that in a minute. But one thing I want to say is you started in California as a young man, right? Growing up in California. Yep. Was all sports always in your life, or did you really gravitate towards wrestling early?
So I played everything. So I didn't play. I only played like Pop Warner football. Like actually, when I was younger, and it turned me off from playing it in school because my mom signed me up for the league across town. So like, I didn't know anybody on it. So like, then I didn't like going and playing because like, none of my friends were there. So I felt like, I don't know anybody, and I started to enjoy it a little bit more. But I love playing, backyard ball with all my friends, and same thing with, soccer, skateboarding, and baseball, all that stuff. But I never was into it to like be in a league and be that consistent. So I was always like athletic and good at it all, but I had no desire to like pursue it. And then as I got older, I mean, since I was 10, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And then as I got older, I got more into that. That's like what my heart and soul went to. Then backyard wrestling was really big in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was doing that and ran my own little backyard promotion, which led to me running my actual own independent professional wrestling promotion. But yeah, it's the one thing I always wanted to do. And I was really a big hobbyist of skateboarding too, which a lot of people were surprised by when they see I skate and do stuff. It's actually part of the reason why I had this double knee surgery actually was so I could skateboard again too. I tore my quad tendon, so I had to get that reattached, but this knee's been bugging me forever. And actually, it was almost a year ago. I was skating with my daughter while she was on her scooter, and my knee was killing me trying to do it. And in my head, I go, there's no way I can be too old to skateboard now. My knee's wrecked. So she's been waiting. Like every so often, she's like, oh, Papa, can you skateboard again yet? I go, it's almost there, almost there.
I'm working for you.
Yeah, right? I know. We're going to get there.
She's skateboarding. She's doing jiu-jitsu.
Yes, yeah.
Two children, yes?
I have two children with my wife, Melissa. Then I actually have an older son with my high school sweetheart, who's still up in Chico, which is my hometown, Chico, California.
Awesome. they're flourishing and doing awesome
Yes,
things.
yes.
Nice. Is your son following any of the footsteps?
You
Is he
know, it's funny. No,
performing, or-
no, he's not a big wrestling fan. It's funny enough too, because I remember as he grew up too, he would only be a fan of it when like other people were a fan of it. And looking back to like, there'd be so many times where I'd be in town and picking him up from whether it be elementary school, junior high, high school. He'd always be like, "Oh, Dad, can you come pick me up over by the fence?" And so everyone can see that you're actually my, because he would tell people, "Oh yeah, Brian Cage is my dad." They're like, "Oh yeah, right. Where's he at then?" Like, "Oh, he doesn't live here." "Oh, of course, how convenient." Like, and I look back and I go, "Well, I guess." I specifically remember in 7th grade, we were about to run the mile, and this friend of mine, Bernabe, was trying to tell me that Big Show was his dad, which is also crazy because Bernabe was like 4 foot nothing. And I go, "There's no way the Big Show is your dad." He's such a child. And it was just ludicrous to believe anyways. But even if he was really his son, like, I wouldn't believe that, of course. So like, I looking back, I go, okay.
Yeah,
I can see like it makes sense if you're just like, "Oh yeah, Brian Cage is my dad." You're like, "No, he's not."
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
That
Oh,
era,
yeah,
those
yeah.
kids are all like flexing. They're all
Yeah.
trying to get like clout. My kid has been telling all these lies by kids in
Well,
school.
of course, and that's the thing
You're
too.
like,
Of course, every kid's gonna lie because they all want to put them. Everyone's gonna lie or embellish or whatever to try to make it cool. Like, if you went and you jumped off this 10-foot cliff into the water, we tell the story. It's a 20-foot cliff. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You always got to build on it. So of course, everyone's like, "Shut up! No, he's not."
Yeah.
Like, you met him one time and all of a sudden he's your dad. Like, shut up! No,
like, man, those daddy issues are showing,
right.
man.
But yeah, I would show up like the best time because it happened multiple times. I'd sign 8x10s and give it to him. But the best time was at junior high, and I was at the gate and I was waiting. And I see him and he goes, "Hey, Dad." I go, "Oh, hey." I go, "Where's your friends?" And he goes, "Oh, they're over there." There's like 3 or 4 kids sitting there and their jaws were all dropped. Like, "Oh shit, it is Brian Cage." And I go to like walk towards the direction to meet him.
Yeah.
And my son stopped me and he goes, No. They're just some fans. Come on. Like, just like big leagues. I'm like, no. You don't get to talk to him. Like, you didn't believe me.
Yeah. What? You weren't there when we weren't eating.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we eating.
yeah.
You could be in the cool places that my dad could take us. And
Yeah, you're not invited. See you
That's
later,
cool.
guys.
He already had that street smarts
Oh
about
yeah,
him.
I
Yeah.
popped hard for. I go, "Oh look, you used me just for the flex right there." That's all it was. Like,
When you were in high school, is that when you had started your own? When did you kind of start your own amateur wrestling promotion?
so the backyard wrestling stuff, like,
Yeah.
we were doing that in high school,
In
and
high
then like
school.
I started to kind of take more control of that because it was just a group of friends. First it would just start as rough housing, and then within the house, and then outside, and then just kind of kept progressing to like we're trying to actually have like matches and do stuff, and slowly but surely it got more and more and more organized, and then I started like making up like actual cards and dates and this and that, and we started getting all the different hardcore objects. That was a big popular thing in the late '90s.
Yeah. Hit him with the chair.
Yeah, and then I remember we used to go around actually to all these different school areas and everything else, and I'm not condoning this, but still, we would steal a bunch of shit from all that. I'm talking for like, on the
No, yeah.
but
The
like
Lord.
we take trash cans. I remember like there's a construction site. We'd go and get a bunch of plywood because you'd make what's called the backyard table. We put 2 chairs down. You put the piece of wood on top of it, and there's the table you can break them through. And so we'd go and ransack so many different stuff. And I had this area. I lived in this big townhouse community called Manzanita Apartments, and that's what I called the backyard promotion was Manzanita Wrestling Federation. And we had this little area over this fence where I had everything grouped together and kind of hidden away. That was all of our our equipment. And then when it eventually developed and started training, I got a business license, got a ring, and like became a legitimate fed. I wanted to keep the name just for the historical aspects. I wanted to keep MWF, and I made it the main event, which is like hyphenated Wrestling Federation. And then I ran that for like 2 years in my hometown, and I remember it was pretty dope. Chico's not a big city. It's probably most known now. Actually, I graduated with him, Aaron Rodgers, because he went to high school with me. Yeah, so he put Chico kind of a little bit more on the map, and it was a big party school. But yeah, we got a couple of different Best of Chico awards and this and that for my show we were running.
That's
and it was,
awesome.
Even looking back now, it was such a minuscule thing out of my career that I've done, but it was still probably some of the most fun. Like it was a lot of fun. I really liked it a lot. So
That's cool to hear. Did you have people that were very show minded, or like what did your parents do that made you already kind of know, like, I know how I want to stage my props, and I know how to, like, I want to start building narratives in my thing?
Well, just being a fan of wrestling, you have different ideas and stuff like that. And like they always, a bunch of friends who obviously all love wrestling, and almost everyone was there, like, wanted to be a wrestler, but maybe didn't have the same aspirations as me to, like, really pursue it, you know what I mean? So it's kind of gateway. But then we all kind of pulled our own weight as far as flyering. Like we had people that make the business cards and make freaking flyers, and we all go put out flyers, and we'd all set the ring and break down the ring. And I'd go and I would do like the set up the newspaper and like radio ads, and I talked to the venues where we'd go book them and set it all up. And then I was the one that made the cards and like the quote unquote storylines.
Oh yeah.
I remember too. I worked at a movie theater in Cinemark, and I'd be in the box office and I'd be printing out a bunch of test tickets, for movies, but there's nothing on them. And then I'd be sitting there, I'm like, all right, I'd have all the dates, for like, all right, we have 6 shows over the next 3 months or whatever else. I'd like write all the matchups. Okay, and how could this work out? And had all these little ticket subs with all the different cards and everything.
So dope.
So yeah, we're just putting it together, and I've always had
You're very entrepreneurial.
well, very much so. And I'm very, very meticulous with a lot of planning, just with my life and my structure and with fitness and wrestling and everything. So like, I like doing all that because like, I could like sit there and control it and be like, okay, let me do this, and this. I can just think down the road and like make it all make sense and plan it all out. And that's always been something that's very, I don't know, come natural and I like to do. So it was a lot of fun. And then obviously too, even just like with wrestling nowadays, like you have an outline, kind of like okay, beginning, middle, end, like this is kind of where we'll go with this like program or feud. Right. But there's always changes along the way, and people have input or, if you do this, and like nothing's ever set in stone. It's just kind of a rough outline, and then you just kind of adapt to it. And then obviously too, if somebody gets hurt or something else, you got to throw a lot of different audibles in. So, but no, it was a great time. And then I got to wrestle one of my heroes and idols in wrestling, Chris Canyon, who became a really good friend of mine. I got to wrestle him in my hometown, in my promotion.
Wow.
Actually, not once, but twice. So that was like...
That's crazy.
Especially
like
the first match. Dude, the first match was like probably one of the top 3 greatest moments of not only my career, but just of my life. Like it was unreal to be like, dude, this is really happening right now. This is insane. So very, very cool.
Let's take it back to when you first signed to a promotion that wasn't yours and one that you were building. There was a little bit of politics involved with it. You wanted to come in Brian Cage, no?
Yep.
And did they already have a fighter as Brian Cage?
No. So like
they didn't like that name for you.
At that time, every time they signed an indie guy or someone who already had some name value, whatever the case, they would always make them change the name because WWE wants to own the rights to you completely through and through. So it's actually realistically from another guy that named Christian, whose independent name was Christian Cage. Funny enough, he was able to snooker it, and when he left the company and went to TNA, since he already had the intellectual property beforehand, he couldn't be Christian, but he could be Christian Cage. So really, that's when they were like, and it was kind of things are a little easier going now, but it's kind of like the screwy things WWE does is like they want to own everything about you. So when you're no longer there, you can't do anything. It's always formerly known as this. And I worked there, and I was signed there, and this is what we were talking about. So like when I couldn't be Brian Cage, because of that, since I already have use of that name, and so I could fight. You already
had built a little bit of rapport for yourself.
So I could fight for the intellectual property. So they don't want to do it, so they want to trademark it. So I changed it to. Or first, it was going to be Logan Cage, and then they said no because of Cage was still in it, and then so I switched it to Chris Logan, Chris for Chris Canyon, and Logan for Wolverine, obviously.
And the Cage.
Yeah.
Cage comes from. Well, your affinity for Cage comes from Luke Cage?
Yes.
That's so fire, man. That's so fire.
Everybody thinks it's Johnny Cage.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because it's just like the name of it. But I actually took a bunch of Marvel cards. I'm a big Marvel fan. And tell us too. I wish I knew all the names. I had a top 25
You
list,
like Luke Cage back when he was like Power Man, probably.
Yeah.
Before he
so it's funny too. And I didn't have my friend actually, after I had the name Brian Cage going on, she actually got me his origin, the very first ever Luke Cage comic, which is so cool. She didn't think it was that neat, but I thought it was so dope. Like,
that's crazy.
Because it goes with the name,
Yeah, it's like make you cry kind of gift.
Yeah. I was like, dude, that's so thoughtful. And the fact that you realized, because I didn't even tell her, but she just realized it and thought of it and like did it together on her own. I was like, that's pretty. She was a nerd herself, so she had a little intuition. But
hey, get a nerd in your life. Nerds make the best gifters.
She was pretty gangster. Like her name, I'll throw out Stephanie. And I remember she made me this. I still have this too. She couldn't believe I still have it. I have this giant wolverine claws she made. It's so epic.
Wow.
It's so epic. She made some pretty cool gifts. She actually also got me to help partake in getting me the very first, not the first full comic, not 181, but the first appearance of Wolverine, where he's just the cameo on the last page in the Hulk comic book.
That's wild.
Where he just introduces
the original copy of it.
Yeah, the 180. Yeah, of course.
Hey,
that's pretty fire. Yeah.
Stephanie, I don't know who you are.
But I need to be your friend.
you damn near Santa Claus over here. You got the craziest gifting game in all the 7 Seas. So that's crazy.
It was pretty gangster.
That's really cool.
She actually helped us out a lot too. She wasn't a wrestler, but she was heavily involved with helping the success of MWF as well. And we even actually stored the ring at her house because she had this huge backyard. We stored the ring at her house, and then we'd set it up there to do our practices. I'd run practice Tuesdays and Saturday mornings. And then obviously we'd go pick up the ring from there and take it to wherever we're going for every show that we'd have every couple of weeks. So,
man, so Stephanie's been a core part of your journey.
Yes,
that's really cool.
Yes. You know, it's funny too. I didn't even I guess it's her and another friend too, Lindsay. They both were very. So Lindsay's family would help run the concessions.
Yeah,
and they do a lot. So both Stephanie and Lindsay both did a lot for me and for nothing. Just to be, they were awesome friends, helped out. And I remember thinking back. Like back then, I was like, oh man, you know, when I make it and I'm doing good, I'm gonna send them some money as a thank you, as like an IOU kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so this thought occurred to me, like I'm up walking to my bathroom, middle of the night, just woke up pee. This was probably like the end of the year last year.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but like half asleep, that memory just occurred to my head, and I go, oh damn, I guess I could do that now. I should do that.
Send them some money.
Whatever, right? And I fall asleep, and then. This past January, right before I went on the Jericho cruise, I remember thinking that, like when I was walking there, and I was like, oh, you know what? So I actually texted both of them, and Stephanie I've talked to a little bit more. I haven't talked to Lindsay forever, and I texted both of them out of nowhere, and I just said, hey, what's your Venmo? Or what's your Zelle? Or what's your whatever, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to tell them why, but of course, too, they both immediately thought I was hacked, or like somebody was like, because it's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part.
Because, too, also, it's like super late. It was like, you know, I was
and
on
if
the
it's
East
last
Coast.
year, like so many scams have grown up around those things now.
And like, especially talking, and I know you're just like, hey, what's a money thing? You know, it's like, who is this? What is going on? Like, what? And then like, they wouldn't believe me, and then I was like, "No, I'm." And then I had to call both of them. Like, "No, it's me. I'm just trying to throw you some cheddar for freaking."
I'm not being held hostage. Please let me know what I could send to you.
I'm not trying to take anything from you. I'm trying to give you something. So I was like, you guys ruining the surprise for me now. But yeah. So shout out to them, and yeah. So cool. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, hey, yeah, I've always been a person that's never forgotten anyone that's done anything for me, or even too. If you're just my friend, I just said this recently too online. I said, if you're my friend and I haven't talked to you, like just normal friend I've had from whatever part of my life, and I haven't talked to you for X amount of years even, your place in my friendship totem pole is still secure. It's right there. You know what I mean? Like if you're a real one, you're there. I can go years without talking to you, but when I talk to you, you're still right there. You're nothing changed. Yeah. It's like I just met you. So I'm pretty loyal in that aspect, and I don't forget anything. And then anytime I can return the favor, or even though there's not like I owe you because you did this for me, like it's still in the back of my mind, it's there. So like if that person ever was to call on me, and again, if I haven't talked to somebody for 10 years, but I remember they did this and this for me that long ago, I'm like, bro, I got you, no problem.
Yeah. People know you as the machine, but you're more of the low maintenance, high return friend. A lot, you get to connect with Brian, and that guy's gonna remember you, keep you close to his heart if you're good to Brian.
I feel like that's something a lot of people take for granted nowadays, and it's not really returned on, and it's unfortunate too, because like same thing. And I don't do anything for anybody expecting some sort of return or like that.
Yeah,
but also it makes you feel some kind of way when someone acts like all of a sudden that never happened, or like whatever between the two you never existed. If somebody else kind of moves around or separates themselves.
There is this expectation of reciprocity, kind of essentially, but. It's not that I need you to give me back what I gave you, per se, but like if you're there for me in equal energy lift.
It's more of just the fact of like, how do you just like pretend like, okay, now that you're in a different place, a different space, or whatever it is, now it's like whatever we shared at one point in time. And obviously, it's very general because there could be so many different variations.
Right.
I go, but it just seems like all of a sudden like that didn't happen or that didn't matter. And I go, that's why I say like the friendship totem pole, like, hey, it's still there, no matter what it was.
There's
it's like
appreciating assets that
exactly.
you've done for me. They don't.
It's locked in.
Waning off.
It's like your APR is locked in for real, for good.
So I feel that, yo. Well, you did a lot in that early era
of your wrestling. A lot of stuff.
You did a lot of stuff, but good sidetrack, amazing sidetrack. Yeah, a lot of really great people in your life that you hold close to your heart, and like that's a really endearing concept or quality about you, and I'm sure that's why flipping from heel, flipping from face was really easy for you, because you have a lot of that great big heart stuff, and then you know how to turn on the evil charm.
It was funny too, because actually I do prefer more often not being face, which is a rarity. More people like being heel because it's also easier. Think about it this way: it's easier to get someone to boo you. Like it's easier to be like, oh, F you, wherever, get someone to like boo you, than to be like, hey, please cheer for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it just comes off more natural, but I do like to be more face, and it is funny because I think generally speaking, my look, especially too if I'm in the gym or wherever else, a lot of people just see me and think that guy's a douchebag, or oh, that guy's some sort of meathead a-hole or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, comes across more of like a jerk. And then when people get to know me or talk to me, like, oh man, no, you're not a jerk, but you're kind of a nerd. You're like it's almost a total vice versa of what they would have expected me. So I think it is more natural for me to be a face, but it's easy for how I look to be a heel because I just fit that role so well.
Yeah, you got real teddy bear energy once you get past that
yeah,
first layer, right?
Of course.
Your family to me, like I love on you. I don't bring that same animosity, that aggression I bring to the gym to the other parts of my life. You put it in a good place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's really awesome to see that you've gotten to, like I said, be a part of so many different eras of this wrestling journey. You're still doing awesome things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm out injury right now, but I mean we were cooking pretty well right before I got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I'm under contract for quite a while, and I plan on coming back better than I was. So I'm a lot of people have been asking me too, like when I'm going to come back, and I have a rough idea, but I've been keeping that under wraps because I don't want anybody to know. I want to just I don't want any expectations, but two, I want it to be a complete surprise so that you get that. There's very few things you can have be unknown in wrestling nowadays too, especially with the internet and a lot of spoilers coming out there.
That part.
So to be able to come out and have that unexpected, like, oh, shock pop is what I call it, is very rare.
Yeah.
And so like I don't want anybody to know anything because I want that.
And the wrestling world is heating up crazy. They
for
found
sure,
a huge
for sure.
They're back in a rising towards that golden age. But
it always kind of comes up and down. It's like, 7 years of up, 7 years go down, 7 years. It's definitely at a pretty good peak right now for sure.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the peak. You were a part of golden era AEW. A really big part of everything they were doing. What was that like?
Management. Well, I'll tell you what part wasn't that great though was the COVID era. That was not. I mean, it's a historical era now. Everyone will remember it. But it was when I talk about the shock pop. That's how I made my debut.
Yeah.
When I was under contract was the COVID era. So I came out to nobody. It's just like you're like the music hits. Here it comes. It's a little disappointing. You're like, like
especially because you've done it so much before then.
Sure.
If that's everybody's first, they're like, okay, cool show. I'm here for the show. But you've been at the backyard rep brawls.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And they come out, you're like, oh man, this sucks. But like, it was cool. But no, it's been awesome to be part of this. Even before that too, it was awesome to be part of TNA and kind of help turn the ship around because it was almost at the very low point when I went in there and help turn the ship around and have it be, smooth sailing. And they're doing extraordinary now as well. But then also to come into something brand new that was like super, popular because it was the new thing in town, is a new hot thing, and then to be riding that wave, and then right now too, like they're on Max, they got a great new streaming and network deal, like they're not going anywhere for a long time, and it's been great. We got a lot of extraordinary talent, and and there's some people on there, both talents from other companies or fans, and I don't know why fans always seem like they want to bury product, which doesn't make sense to me. Like if you don't like the product or you like another product more, totally fine. Obviously you can, but like. Competition breeds better competition. Yeah. Like WWE's lowest points because there was no competition. So it's almost like you don't have to try hard because like that's all there is. But on top of that too, obviously, it's better for all of us. Not only does it give us more of a job security, but then also it gives everyone job, like increases everyone's salary, their treatment, everything else. Because like, oh, if I have you on my team and I don't want you to go to this team, well then hey, I got to do something to keep you here, right? And then vice versa for the other team. But there's nowhere to go.
Man, everybody starts job hugging.
Yeah. What do you got to do? They're like, hey man, can I have some more money? And they're like, no. Yeah. Like, well, okay. Well, because like you got no other options. So.
And it's just you become also afraid to innovate and be the one that does something risky to become
and also
away from the.
It also isn't. There's no push to make you have to either because you're like, oh, whatever. Like, what are they gonna watch something else? Like I said, you can't. So. Yeah. When something else happens and it's different or whatever, you have to, okay, now we have to force change. We have to do something to get better. So competition is always great. It'd be like watching any other sport. If there's just, two teams, you're like, well, this isn't that exciting because you don't got a lot to go for. So
yeah, I heard that. I'm really curious actually because there's been so much. You spoke on the streaming deal that's been secured. So much more of combat sports is going towards streaming deals with these major networks. A huge Paramount deal just getting inked with the UFC. What do you feel about how do you feel that bodes for combat sports?
I feel like it goes great for my wallet because I don't have to buy pay-per-views for $80 anymore.
Hey man. When the streaming service becomes $80 a month though, is it good?
No, right? Because everything always going to keep changing, right? Like I was just complaining about that to my wife, how like, everything now has ads, which everybody bought streaming services not to have ads. Now they all have ads, so now you have to pay more not to have ads, and then you have all your streaming, and now it's more than cable. It's just like,
oh goodness, yeah.
It's kind of like the watch, right? So everybody invented a wristwatch to get rid of the pocket watch, and then everyone doesn't wear a watch now because everybody has their phone, the time of their phone, and then where do they keep their phone? In their freaking pocket. So it's just like kind of goes around and around.
They got a phone watch phone.
Yeah, right.
That phone watches so you can become a secret agent.
Which I don't even like that, at least for mine, because the crap dies like in an hour anyways. But that's a whole nother story. Anyways, no, I think it's great though. I mean, that's just the way things are going, and I would have never thought. I remember when Netflix first started making like their own movies, their own TV shows. I was like, what? That's kind of whack. But that's how it is now, and just everything's streaming. And
now you're like, where's the next Netflix original? You're right. This stuff is great. It's cool.
And then it's great for them because, like, so for instance, since you brought UFC and Paramount deal, and they got this mega deal, now they don't really even care about selling pay-per-views or what, or how, like, so now selling pay-per-views would equate to getting Paramount memberships, right? Yeah. So they don't care how many memberships. I'm sure they want people to increase, but their money's paid. They're set for 7 years now. Yeah. They don't care like whether they get more people or not. Like they don't have to worry about selling pay-per-views. You know what I mean? So that's an awesome.
It helps that ecosystem. Does it become a easy way for it to become complacent, where you don't need to make a super fight where we had the two fighters you want anymore? We already got the money for this fight, right? Sure.
So I mean, you can say that too, which is a possibility, because even then with like the ESPN deal they have right now, before it ends, they have to do X amount of cards throughout the year, right? And I think the negative on that is, there's like a card every week.
Rushing them out.
Which you get a little oversaturated, and obviously, there's tons of wrestling, there's tons of MMA, it is a little oversaturated. But on top of that too, I also feel like some of the cards are a little weak, because you can't have a gangster card week after week after week after week after week,
It's impossible.
So like they'll have like one good fight. Like even some of the pay-per-views, saying save some money, like they'll make it maybe the main event's awesome, but the rest of the card's booty. You're like, man, don't want to drop $80 for the one fight. Like everything else looks like whatever. And then it's even worse on a UFC card too if the main fight is a freaking dud
Snoozer,
too.
bruh.
Then you're like,
the huggers, they start hugging up. You're like, ain't no way.
That's one thing too I like about wrestling more is obviously we can have some duds too, or some things can be disappointment. But ultimately, if you compare big pay-per-view versus big pay-per-view, the wrestling one is almost always guaranteed to deliver. Whereas the MMA one, no matter how good it is, sometimes still you're like, yeah. And I always feel like sometimes the most heated, like rivalry ones are like the biggest like where they just pitter patter around. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
They were trying to kill each other, and now they're playing patty cake. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and that's sometimes maybe the benefit as well of getting a chance more in the wrestling world to be able to like. We get to make a really good moment here. Let's make sure we have a pop here. Make sure
everyone wants to because
that's what people want.
And people don't realize some things are out of your control in that regard too. But like, obviously you want to make the most of it. And if you only got 6 minutes, you're going to go out there and take it. And same thing. Sometimes the prelims on UFC are the best fights because these are the guys coming up. They're trying to make a name for it. Go, I'm throwing haymakers. I'm trying to make something happen.
Bro, you start watching a UFC fight and there's just blood all over the mat. You come in at the main card. You're like, where were these battles?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Who died here? Like, that's not okay. But yeah, like you said, and then you get to the main event and it's a bit more, they have a lot more to lose. And maybe they don't want to die on their shield yet. They're not at that point in their career, right? So, that's awesome we have so much more to get into. Real quick, we got to jump into a quick break where we're going to have you guys see some stuff from Eureka. They got so many amazing chairs, the best furniture in the game. We'll be right back with even more Brian Cage and Username Taken right after this. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your man, Oski Chip, and I'm here at the HyperX Arena, so excited to introduce you to our brand new chair partner, Eureka Ergonomic. Right here, you can see the Python 2, more traditional gaming chair. The thing that stands out to me, of course, is this beautiful material that they created with, super easy to clean. And then on top of that, this movable platform that gives you your lower lumbar support is so adjustable, it moves, meets you exactly where you're at for all those clutch moments. We also have the Typhoon Hybrid model, which is amazing. It is so adjustable, everything from the head to the lower lumbar supports, just a way that you're able to even move the seating area forward and backward for people that want to put their legs out further in front of them. Truly an amazing piece of smart furniture with an ergonomic S-curve that is unparalleled in the industry. Now, I could talk about these chairs all day, but what you can do is go to our landing page on eurekaergonomic.com to get your hands on these chairs yourself. That's all from me. Peace. Welcome back, y'all. So glad you stuck with us through the break. We still in here with the man, Brian Cage, Wolverine, the Machine, known not really to be mean. The guy's got a big heart. If you haven't heard the interview so far, this guy's awesome, man. It's really cool to, like I said, just get to be around somebody that, you know, whether you're the villain in the story or the hero, like, who's that guy that shows up to those roles, you know, and like getting to peel back those layers.
Sure.
And doing that with you has been really awesome. I want to talk a bit more about the wrestling before we transition anywhere else. I mean, one thing that we spoke about a bit before the show, before we went live, was that a lot of times when you're the bigger guy, when you're known to be as strong as Brian Cage is when he gets in the ring, they kind of pigeonhole you and they'll put you in a box of like the type of athleticism that they expect from you. But you've shattered that mold multiple times over. Was that just something, were you always a gymnast at heart and just always wanted to go a bit further with things, or you just like breaking out of molds?
So like I wasn't the size when I first started, even though I was like in good shape. I definitely was not the size. I was probably like 50 pounds smaller. But so as I gradually put on muscle throughout the time, I think that's why I was able to adapt and keep so much of my athleticism, is because I was already doing it while I was putting muscle. Was it like if I just showed up, you know, day one, you know, 250 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever, maybe it wouldn't have came so easily for me. But yeah, and that it would kind of boggle my mind, because even then I did more and more athletic stuff, I think, as I got bigger too. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't do that. You know, you're too big to be doing that." I go, "But I can actually do it."
Yeah, what kind of statement is that?
Like so, and I get they're saying, because they're like, "Oh, well, if you do it, you know, what's the little guy gonna do?" kind of situation.
Okay.
My actually, like, so I'd be like, "Well, look, I'm not." Wrestling's a pretty selfish business too, and I'm like, look, I'm just trying to get myself over. Everyone thinks I can't wrestle. I go out there and I can prove, like, oh, I can go, I can move, I have, you know, timing, footwork, everything, athleticism. They're like, oh crap, this is great. Then I blow somebody's mind by doing this dive or this moonsault or this 619 or whatever the case, and too, I feel like there's still a difference too, like, 'cause sometimes you don't want to repeat certain moves or spots, and someone goes, oh, so and so's doing this, and I go, well, they're not me doing it. So like,
Right.
even if some like small, like real fit, you know, gymnast guy does some sort of really pretty high, you know, moonsault, dive, flip, whatever the trick, where I can't do it that good, I go, but it looks different when you see big 260-pound muscular, you know, bodybuilder looking guy do it. You're like, oh, what? It blows your mind. So the fact that people try, like you said, to pigeonhole, where like you can or can't do something, I hate that, because I'm like, look, or even like sometimes when someone's a bad guy, they're like, oh, you shouldn't be able to do that move because that's like a cool move and you're a bad guy. I go, so just because since you're a heel, you can't be athletic? Like, you're still an athlete.
I can't be lame and the heel, bro.
Right.
Like,
but like, obviously but that's why you do certain moves at certain times in matches. It makes sense of it. You don't just do it just to, as I say, get my shit in. But like, yeah, you try to make sense of it and tell a story with it. But like, I hate that. Like, okay, so if I'm a good guy, I can be an athlete, but if I'm a bad guy, I can't be. I go, that doesn't make any sense. Like, we're not living in 1980. Everything evolves, everything changes. Like, obviously, if you look at what he was doing in sports nowadays compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago, of course, it's all greater and like, oh, mind-boggling. So I feel like sometimes people forget that and they want to keep wrestling more simple and easier, as it was like in the old times. I don't mean easier as like an insult either, but but I'm like no, things change and things adapt, and I feel like that's what set me apart, is because I walk out and I set myself apart for how I look, but then I'm doing stuff that nobody else usually my size or structure does too. You're like, oh, holy crap, wait a minute. And then as I start to get over for doing that, now I don't give it out like candy anymore. Now I reserve it, because now people know I can do that. Now they want to see me do it. So now you make them want to see you do it. So you don't do it all the time. So like, no, now it is special and it means something when you do it. So it's kind of like how it builds up to that. So, and again, like, had I gone out there and I just did a couple big booms and I, wasn't bumping or selling for anybody and I just was like the big guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have made as much headway as I did, just 'cause I feel like it would have been more commonplace.
No, I feel that you added that Brian Cage thing throughout your entire career, whether you had to be Chris Logan or whoever you had to be, you always just stayed true to yourself.
And even going back to that with Chris Canyon, so like I said, the guy I worked in my company and named myself after with Chris Logan. One of his big monikers was being the innovator of offense, and that's why I liked him so much. Was he did so much creative moves and creative things, and thought outside the box a lot. So I wanted to wrestle like him. I wanted to show homage to him, and he always inspired me to wrestle like that. So also, that's what made me want to do different move sets and just wrestle differently altogether, because that's why I liked and that's what I was into. That's what I remember thinking every time I saw him wrestle, like, dude, he does something different all the time, or I've never seen that before, whatever the case. And I remember I wanted to have that same feeling for whoever was watching me, whether it be on TV or in person, for someone to be like, well, I've never seen that. Oh, I've never seen me do something like that. You know what I mean? So the fact that I've gotten that compliment many times, I'm like, is a feather in my cap, and that's what I wanted to do. So
No, yeah, I'm so excited to get to see you rehab up this knee. You get to follow your journey as you're coming back into this space, and I can really tell you've had a lot of time to think about
Oh, for
what
sure.
mattered most to you in this space, and I'm really excited to get to see the run that you have after this. It's gonna be
Thank
dope.
you, man. Thank you.
You have. We talked about it a bit earlier, but your daughters. You have two daughters right now, right?
No, I have a daughter,
daughter and
son.
a younger
Well,
son.
I have two sons.
Younger
but,
son?
yeah, my the two children with my wife is my Skylar and Logan, my two younger children, and then with my high school sweetheart, I have a older kid who's 19 now.
Okay.
Um,
And is your
but yeah.
daughter older than your son? With
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
She's 7. He's almost 2. In a few more months, he'll be 2 years old. So
Have most of their because your daughter must have been little when you were wrestling last, no? Like she was, how old was she when you last?
oh no, I was still like I was
What-
probably in the prime of my peak of my Brian Cage career, so to speak, when she was born. So like my oldest son, yeah,
Okay.
he was like when I was still doing my own
Right.
promotion basically and stuff like, and just barely getting started.
But baby son really been around like the fights? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they've all been there. Like,
Okay,
actually,
okay.
Actually, we didn't even take Skylar. That's my daughter's name to some of the shows. She actually has. We took her to this one really big indie show, and she had an impromptu match, and she actually won the match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like she grabbed the guy's finger, and because he was like pointing at her, and he tapped out from like the baby grip strength. But because you know how hard they grab because they don't know that.
Facts. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have no control of it, and they just yeah, it was pretty funny. But they both have been around it, and even my oldest son, I remember when he was a little kid and he'd be in Walmart or something and we're checking out and he'd be like, "Oh, my daddy's Brian Cage and he fights bad guys and this, whatever." So it's they've all been around it and it's been fun. And everybody goes, "Oh yeah, do you want your kids to follow your footsteps?" And I go, I mean, that would be super cool, but also I just want them to do whatever they want to do. Because I remember I didn't always have the most belief in me and pursuing my dreams or even support. And I'm not trying to throw anybody on the bus.
No, yeah.
But I would love for them to be involved in wrestling in some regard if they wanted to. But if they want to do what they want to do, then I want them to pursue that, and they have my full support and blessing behind that. So, just because I know it fueled my desire to make it happen, but also it would have been nice to have a little more like belief in me of being able to do it. So, I just fully support whatever they want to do.
Sometimes I feel like our parents are from a world that it was really scary to think about some of
Sure.
the things that we pursue as like, oh, that's just what's normal now, right? And they try to disincentivize us from it, But
Well, sure,
plan
and it
Bs
comes
and
from
plan Cs
and it comes from a place of safety and security
Yep,
where you
yep.
wanted to see your children be okay. So I get that, I totally get that, but like
Yeah.
I'm like no, I wanted there were so many times too with my mom where she'd be so excited for me, but then the next day she'd be like, okay, well you're just gonna stop now and quit and like be normal, so to speak, and I'm like, no, mom, this is the grind.
I'm all
like,
in.
Yeah, I go,
all
of course, and there's been plenty of ups and downs along the way, a lot of downs, but it makes all the ups that much greater. And since probably 2012 to this point, every single year of my life has been better, financially, professionally, personally, like everything's improved year after year after year after year. So I'm glad I stayed the course.
Do you feel that and it seems crazy, but do you feel like all the things that you've learned about interacting with people from wrestling help you in your father life and help you at home life and with your wife and like the things that you're doing in your personal life? Because there's a lot of interpersonal skills that you have to craft in that world,
Sure.
And
I think just everything you learn from life is always a big lesson that you can correlate and just make it all mean something. Like I just feel like my struggles and challenges have helped just create me to be the human being that I am today, that I can teach my children, and from my hardships and my struggles and my never say die kind of attitude. That was even one thing too. Like the whole time I was in the ups and downs with everything. Like I also thought about, I only had the one son at the time, but just I wanted to show my children like, hey, look, I never quit, I never stopped, and like I'm sitting here like on the struggle bus, but I'm also doing it for you, to give you a better life, to give you better opportunity than stuff that that I didn't have growing up, which they all have had, but also internally, so you can use me as motivation as well to like chase whatever it is that you're after. So
yeah, I mean, and you took a really big setback. You had a big injury, right?
Yeah.
Not this one.
Yeah.
It was a back injury, no?
Yes. The night I won the world title. Yeah.
Yeah, huge night, and had a pretty substantial setback with that. What did you really learn about yourself in that moment, from being at the highest high, then instantly being at like, this is like real injury, like I have to be super serious about this because this could be my career.
Sure, sure.
How did you navigate that?
You know, not turning this into like a freaking day at church, whatever. But you know, I think it also not only learned a lot about myself, but also just put more of my trust and faith in God and realize like, okay, hey, this is where we got so far. Everything happens for a reason, and it was, you know, it was the highest of highs to like the lowest of low. It's like, man, this sucks.
Yeah,
like,
man. Yeah.
And you know, and I was really bummed out, as we all do in any, you know, athlete, whenever they get hurt and they're out, like, and you think you're, you know, you're damaged goods now, you're out of sight, out of mind, this, that, whatever. Am I going to be as good? There's all these questions and doubts, and you go through. But you know, again, too, that's a lesson. And like even then, having gone through several different, you know, small injuries, and that was a big major one, actually helps prepare me. Like, you know, for the one I'm going through right now, actually, this has been the most optimistic and level-headed I've been through any injury. This has been the longest lasting too, and the longest I've ever been out. And we're even talking about my kids and stuff like that. So that's also a blessing. It's actually helped me form a new, you know, passion and relationship with my wife. It's having been around my kids more often, and it's been great. And you know, too, even living out here in Vegas now for about 5 years, everyone's like, oh, really? What do you love about Vegas? I go, do everything. And surprisingly, too, there is so much more family stuff out here than there's been anywhere else I've ever lived. Like, and because people here in Vegas, all they think is the Strip.
We don't got the zoos.
Yeah. We don't have a zoo. We don't have a zoo. There's the lion habitat.
No beach.
There's lion habitat. We've been there a few times.
Secret Garden. You gotta go to Secret Garden.
But no, like the amount of family stuff that there's been, and my wife's part of all these different mommy groups and stuff like that. And a lot of stuff too is super low cost or even free. Like it's crazy.
Right.
We've done so many things and been able to do that we would normally never get to do anywhere else. And it's mind-boggling thinking, oh, it's in Vegas, between all the different, like, you know, farm activities and like this little mermaid stuff at Silverton, and like if you just look for it, every week there's like a different show or something, entertainment for adults going on, right? But there's all that for kids all the time too. And obviously, if you don't have kids, you don't live here, you're never going to look for it or know that. But like it's been extraordinary being able to have it. And there's some badass parks. Like there's a lot of cool
Summerlin
stuff.
to Aliante in the north, all the way down to the south.
Like a lot of the Christmas stuff too. There's so many different Christmas things that happen. Like it's pretty cool.
No, Vegas. Awesome. I traveled the world a little bit, got to see some places, and when I went around the country for sure, I was like, get me back to Las Vegas.
Right? Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit of bias, but hey, I'm already running short on time with you, Brian, because I know you got some awesome things to do. Usually you play a little bit of a game on username taken, but my friend Logan Summit on the Sideline Report actually jumped on the AEW game with you. So we're going to have to throw a little bit of that action right in the description. Make sure you guys go watch that video, because not only was his interview fire, he had an amazing time playing the game with a fan that was in the venue. I think he even had a signed copy that he got to walk out the building with.
Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness. And just, I want to have one more time for you, Brian. Any last words to give? I have your camera for you right there. Anything that you got to send? Any love to people? Don't even want to give a time on when you're coming back or anything like that, but when to look out for you and where to look out for you.
So, I mean, obviously all my different social media stuff, Brian Cage it's really just Brian Cage on every platform. But I would just want to give a shout out and thanks to all the fans, everyone who's followed me, you know, throughout this injury, before my injury, Lucha Underground, Impact Wrestling, TNA, AEW, all of it, because obviously, as we always say, and it sounds so cheesy and corny, but if it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't do what we do, which is, you know, being a fan, which was an awesome thing to be part of, because I myself is a fan, and I'm still a huge fan of the sport. So always appreciate you guys, always give love to you guys, because like I said, if it wasn't for you, we couldn't do what we could do. And yes, I will be coming back. I will be coming back better than ever, and it won't be it'll be sooner than later. Maybe not too soon, maybe not too later, but you know, somewhere around there, trying to give a generic, discreet detail maybe when it will be. So, and we look forward
to that too, brother.
Thank you, man.
Man, really appreciate you coming by. And for our friends, like I said, make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel, you got this far in the video, hit that subscribe button. More amazing content coming y'all's way. But that does it for another amazing episode of Username Taken. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.